This is the Good Neighbor Podcast, the place where local businesses and neighbors come together. Here's your host, Skip Money.
Well, hello, everyone, and welcome to the Good Neighbor Podcast of East Tennessee and Western North Carolina. So we are thrilled to have a special guest in the studio with us today who's not, this is their first time joining us. So we're very excited to have them and learn all about them and their company. And I'm sure you will be as well, because today I have the pleasure of introducing your good neighbor, Mr. Zach Haire, who is the owner-operator of Sports Treasures. Zach, welcome to the show.
How's it going? Thanks for having me. Glad to be here.
Well, glad to have you. And like I said, excited to learn all about your business. This is what we focus on, is small, locally owned businesses and nonprofits. So if you don't mind, why don't you kick us off by telling us about what you do?
Yep. So I own Sports Treasures. I'm here in Knoxville, Tennessee. I've been the owner now for roughly 3.5 years, getting close to 3.5 years. Business been here for 36 years now.
Wow.
It's in North Knoxville. If you're familiar with the Knoxville area, where the Broadway exit, get off going towards Halls. We're out there, not far off the interstate. Deal primarily in sports cards, as well as memorabilia. Obviously, we're about 10 minutes from University of Tennessee's campus, so we do a lot of Tennessee memorabilia. We had Tennessee's quarterback Joey Aguilar and star receiver Chris Braslin here actually last Thursday for a signing. But on top of all of that, I'm actually sitting here right now. So what I was doing was pricing Pokemon cards. That's they're just as wild, crazy right now as sports cards. So we do a lot in that realm as well too, with the Pokemon and TCG, but primarily sports cards. We've probably got, gosh, I think our Facebook and radio ad says over 1 million cards, but it's probably closer between 3 and 5.
Wow.
We have the old school library catalog drawers from back in the day, full, and they go with baseball. Baseball goes all the way back to 1952 to current. Football is we go back, I think, early 70s. We have some older, but not in the drawers. And then basketball, we have a lot of the 90s, early 2000s in those drawers as well, plus boxes upon boxes of quarter and dollar cards as well for people to dig through.
Wow. I bet that's fun too.
Yep. Yeah, we got people who come and spend about their whole day with us just digging through them.
I bet. Well, very interesting, Zach. How did you get started in this business?
So I was a kid, obviously collected cards like a lot of kids nowadays do out there. I did the Pokemon, and I worked my way up, kind of transitioned to sports cards, but there's Sports Treasure, and there's a couple other card shops in town. But when I was a kid, there's really just Sports Treasures and Wall of Fame. Wall of Fame was out west. This is more north, and I'm from the west part of Knoxville. It would just kind of go through phases, like, a new little card shop would pop up, or I go to Walmart in the summer and buy sports cards here and there. And then when I got to high school, I actually stopped in at Wall of Fame out west, and before football practice. And the owner at the time goes, "Hey, we're fixing to move basically across the parking lot. Need a summer job." And I was like, "I'm sure, nothing else to do in the summer." So started working there with them, and then I'd work there during Christmas. And then when I'd come home from college, I'd work there in the summer and Christmas as well. Got to be good friends with a lot of the people that work there and the owner. And then that really is when my love for the hobby and the collecting started to grow. And then in 2016, the owner of Wall of Fame suddenly passed away. And just kind of talking to him and his kids at the time, was able to purchase his inventory in his eBay store. And the IRS then started calling it a business about the same time instead of a hobby. So kind of worked there doing a lot of online stuff. And then the owner of Sports Treasures here, he'd always joke like, "Oh, you should buy my shop. You should buy my shop." And I was always, at the time, no one's going to give the bank's not going to give a kid money to buy a card shop. And just kind of over time got a little more serious about it. And, it worked out. The bank gave a kid money to buy a card shop and take over an existing card shop. But it's kind of, like I said, it was always a hobby. And then 2015, 2016, the IRS said it was no longer a hobby, that it was a job. And so that kind of, when that happened, I thought, well, if it's going to be a job, let's, you know, work on it. And, I was a licensed insurance agent. My dad owns an agency. So I was doing that till, about 3.5 years ago. And then when I bought the brick and mortar store here, been full go there since then.
Awesome. Wow, what a story.
Yeah.
Well, what are some myths or misconceptions? I'm sure there are some in the card business.
Yeah. The biggest one, and this is, it's hard to say as a card shop owner, but odds are the cards you have aren't worth what you think they're worth. um, we get a lot of people bring cards in. They see on TV these cards are selling for large amounts of money. Those exist, but most things people bring us are 80s and 90s, and 80s and 90s are what they call the junk era of sports cards, and they're in here somewhere. I can show you where I'm at, but I've still got sealed cases of 1987 Topps baseball. That's how much
Wow.
of it they made. So that was probably be the biggest misconception is most people think that, my dad gave me these or I got these as a kid, I'm going to get these and I see all these people selling cards for a large amount of money. I'm going to take these down here. I'm going to sell them and I'm going to take a Disney vacation. And, there are cards out there that will do that. But those cards aren't as common as you think. And a bulk of what people have are these 80s and 90s. So unfortunately, that's that's probably the biggest misconception is not all cards can just retire you.
Right. Unfortunately.
Yeah.
Well,
Hmm.
that's a big one. That's a big one.
Yeah.
Which makes your job very important to be able to tell people, well, this is actually worth X, not
Hmm.
XXX. So,
Yeah. That's the big thing. And then probably the toughest thing as a shop owner is when a kid brings you, like this happened a couple weeks ago. A kid brought in a Pokemon card and it's a decent card, 40, $50, but his was fake. So you had to,
oh,
you got to tell the kid, oh, sorry, this is not a real card. And then just see
the
the
look.
disappointment look on the face is always tough. Because a lot of times, they may have traded for it at school and the kid they got it from didn't know it, or, it's just, uh, that's the hard part of this job a lot of times, or, you see a kid and he thinks he's got, something big, big, and special. I've got, Jackson Dart's the big rookie right now. Oh, I've got this Jackson Dart card, well, it's $5, it's $10, it's unfortunately that's the downside to it. But then, you upside of it is when you see somebody open the pack and they do pull that, Jackson Dart autograph that's worth a bunch of money, or they pull that big Pokemon card that's worth a bunch of money. You see the joy on it. So there's good and bad at both ends of it.
Right. But of course, you'd rather see
Oh
the
yeah.
happy side.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, if let's switch gears for a second. Can you think of a hardship or life challenge that you've overcome and how it made you stronger on the other side?
Um, hardship or challenge. I would say definitely probably still in the middle of it now, but it molds me and makes it who I am and do it now is, like I said, it's been 3.5 years since I took over the shop. Obviously, it took a hefty bank loan to be able to do it, and you know, a lot of people see these people on social media and about the sports cards and stuff, and kind of going back, saying not most cards aren't enough to retire you. People see these guys that are social media influencers on cards and things like that. Um, that making the big bucks and stuff, but it's a grind to be here. And there's you know, I'm getting into it now, and things are great here. And but there were definitely some nights when I first took it over that I definitely was sitting there thinking, why I talked myself into doing this? Why did I um I wish somebody had told me don't do it. It's a bad idea when I was, I'm just going to throw all my cards away. It's not worth the trouble. I wish I never opened a pack of cards before. Um, but now to be where I'm at, on the back side of that, working the way down from the peak of that, I think it helps, makes me stronger, come over it because, now I know that, um, I can do it. It's going to work out. If you put in the time, put in the effort, grind, put in the hours, you can get through it. There is the light at the end of the tunnel. I've got a 10-month-old now at home.
Oh wow.
Um, so
Congrats.
that's the difference now too. Is I am at the point now where and making the adjustment. I used to come in at 8 o'clock in the morning and be here at 8 o'clock at night. Now I drop him off at daycare at 9 o'clock and get here at 9:30, and then I leave it right at 6 for I get home to see him. But I've got the pieces in place to able to do that, and but I think those first you know 12 to 16 months of the shop were definitely the hurdle that I learned a lot about myself. I learned a lot about what I can do and accomplish. And it's I always joke. I said I used to have to take omeprazole, which is for stomach acid, and I was like, now I think my body's just used to the stress, and it just
It just
doesn't
deals with
phase
it.
me anymore. Yeah, I don't even do that anymore. I'm over that. It's my body's like, you know what? It's just going to be stress, but it works out.
It works out. Well, it is not easy to start a business or to take over a business. It's not easy, but it can be
Mhm.
very, very rewarding. I feel you, brother. Me too.
Yeah,
I'm in
yeah.
that boat too. So, if you could think of one thing, Zach, that you'd like our listeners and viewers to remember about sports treasures, what would that be?
um, definitely. I think that it's I'm not family to the original owner. His father started it in '89. He took it over, worked with his dad, and his father passed away 20 or so years ago. He took it over and ran it. But that it's, as I said, as you see these things on social media, is Fanatics is controlling a lot of things now in the card world. You see these Tom Brady's opening card shops, Bruce Buffer from UFC's opening card shops. You're getting bigger corporate shops, but you know we've been here in Knoxville for uh, local for 36 years now. We are the family business. I mean, like I said, we had Joey Aguilar and Chris Brazel out here last Thursday for half the signing. My wife had Jackson, our 10-month-old, strapped onto her, and the other half I had him strapped onto me. We are we want to be your local go-to family, card shop. You can come in, hang out, knowledgeable, know what we're doing. We want to be here, help continue to grow the hobby. That's the goal. You teach kids about it, how to collect and what they like to collect and how to take care of their cards, and the joy of like you said, you pull your favorite player. It may not be an expensive card, but you really like Shohei Ohtani, and you pull a card of his, to keep building that hobby for they continue to collect as they get older. And then as they get older, their kids may get into it, and then their kids collect. So to be able to, as you're in this, the previous owner, he sees people that they came in as kids and collected, and now their kids are collecting, and I see it now as, there were kids coming in first bought the shop and they were buying Pokemon. Well, now they're buying football cards, and just kind of um, work through that way. And that would be what I think is, to remember about Sports Treasure, is we're here to help impact the community, the card collecting, the memorabilia collecting community, and to always be here for them, providing the best experience we can, whether it be meeting players, opening cards, hanging out with their friends, trading, that type of thing.
Awesome. Good thing to remember. And local means everything.
Yeah, yeah, very
Absolutely.
much.
Absolutely. So, if any of our listeners are in the region or interested, they collect cards, they'd like to come check your shop out, how can they learn more?
Yeah. So a lot of people ask me if we have a website. We don't have a website because things in this industry move so quick. By the time we'd get it loaded, it'd probably be sold out. um, so we are, like I said, here on North Broadway in Knoxville, 4819 North Broadway. If you are super familiar with the area, Broadway exit going towards Fountain City. We're in the shopping center right next door to Big Lots. But we do have a Facebook page, Sports Treasures. The logo, do I have anything back here with it? I don't have anything. The logo, it says Sports Treasures, guy with a hat, sunglasses, and a beard. We almost always post new products in there. Um, our chip case, which took off about a little over a year and a half ago, is a game we play in the shop. We play on Facebook now. We also have Instagram, which is Sports Treasures TN. Um, and old school, you can always call, and it's really old school. It's 865-688 card. or 865-688-2273 for those that don't know how to do the old school texting. There on it. Like I said, we're open Monday through Friday, 10 to 6, Saturday, 10 to 4, closed on Sundays. Facebook probably is the easiest way to get us, just because there, or Instagram, where everything integrates the same message place now. But yeah, that would be the best way to catch us. Like I said, and we do different events. If you follow us on social media, you'll see about our signings, new products, new cards that just came in, all kinds of stuff.
Awesome. Very good. Well, Zach, I can't tell you how much I appreciate you taking time out of your busy schedule to hang out with us and tell us all about your really cool sounding sports card store, and wish you, your family, and your customers, your business, all the best moving forward.
Awesome. Thank you so much for having me on. I really enjoyed it.
Absolutely. Same here. And maybe we can have you back sometime.
Yep. I'd love to.
All right. Sounds great. Have a blessed rest of the day.
You as well.
This is the Good Neighbor Podcast, the place where Thank you for listening to the Good Neighbor Podcast. To nominate your favorite local businesses to be featured on the show, go to gnptri-cities.com. That's gnptri-cities.com or call 423-719-5873.